Public Affairs programming on WQPT is brought to you by the Singh Group at Merrill Lynch, serving the wealth management needs of clients in the region for over 25 years.
Iowa Governor Terry Branstad on his future and the state's, and a true spring cleaning in the cities. He is the longest-serving governor in American history, but Terry Branstad is counting the days until he could become America's ambassador to China. Governor Branstad tells us he submitted all the necessary paperwork to the agencies and committees that oversee America's Foreign Service employees. But he's still waiting to find out when Senate hearings will be held to hear testimony on his nomination. The governor sat down with us to talk about his future and what he's leaving behind. Our first question to him was an assessment of his administration. Is the state of Iowa better off than when it was when he first took office?
Yes. I was governor during the farm crisis of the 80s. Yep. Really difficult, stressful time. And we've been going through some challenges financially now because of farm income being down the last several years. But we don't have the high interest rates, and we've had great success in diversifying the economy, bringing more business and jobs. We have 43 ethanol plants. We have 13 biodiesel plants. We've got a new fertilizer plant. We've got new companies coming here. And so we're in a much better, more diversified situation. And even though we're facing some budget challenges, 31 other states are. Our neighboring state of Illinois hasn't had a budget in 2 years. So we're in a lot better shape than a lot of places. And I'm proud of what we've done to make Iowa more attractive, reduce the tax and regulatory burdens. And we're going to continue to see that under my successor. Kim Reynolds has been my partner. She's been the lieutenant governor. We were elected as a team. We've worked as partners. She's led trade missions. She's led the effort on the science, technology, engineering, and math. She also helped put together the new energy plan for the state of Iowa. So I think we're well positioned for a successful future, and I'm really proud to leave the state in the hands of our first woman governor, who's been my partner, and I've been her mentor for the last 6 years.
And I do want to talk more about that. Right now, revenue being down more than, what, $130 million less than we had anticipated coming into this year?
We don't know until the Revenue Estimating Conference meets on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And so we'll get the exact figure from them. But it looks like it's down. It has been for the last 3 times. March of last year it was down $46 million. In October, it was down another $70 million. In December, it was down another $96 million. I had to base the budget based on that, and we had the first order of business was to do some de-appropriation to meet our requirement of a balanced budget. But at least we did it. Illinois hasn't. Other states haven't. Other states are facing bigger budget challenges than we are. And we do have 10% of our budget set aside in the cash reserve and economic emergency account that had been tapped by my predecessor, which we restored during the time that I've been governor. So we're in a position to handle that. Hopefully, we're going to see the ag economy come back with the new president. And, you know, job growth last month, the highest it's been in 3 years, almost 300,000. The restoration of the renewable fuel standard and better commodity prices hopefully are going to make a difference in the future.
Every governor, every lawmaker says that they want to be the education lawmaker. And I know Iowa's sterling reputation for education seems to be diminishing year after year after year. And I know that education isn't all about money. But is that a worry that perhaps we are cutting corners in Iowa and not funding education with the increases of a 1.2%, and you wanted 2, but you said you understood the legislature because hard times, and you could perhaps revisit that.
Well, it's not just the supplemental state aid, which is $40 million. It's also the $150 million we put in over the last 3 years to the Teacher Leadership and Compensation Program that rewards teachers for taking on more responsibility, encourages more collaboration, encourages mentoring new teachers so they improve their skills. And just today, a report came out from the Department of Education that the law that we passed in 2012 to help kids that are struggling to read, they need to be able to read proficiently by the end of 3rd grade, has seen significant improvement Waterloo, which was one of the schools that was really lagging, saw their improvement by, I think, double digits. And I think statewide it went up by about 4.6%. So I think the changes that we've made, the teacher leadership program, the focus on early childhood reading, are beginning to see Iowa come back. And I'm proud to say that since the previous governor did a 10% across-the-board cut in 2009. That was Culver. It did a lot of damage because schools get the biggest share of the state budget. So at least I promise that we won't do that. And this year, as we've had to reduce spending for 2017, we exempted school aid. So K through 12 education did not see a reduction. The rest of state government did.
Davenport is, of course, pushing the buttons for state government as far as rules are concerned in regards to the issue of equity for per student, per pupil funding. You're going to be leaving office, but you know that this is on the front burner for the Quad Cities in particular.
Robbie Smith has a bill that is a short-term solution to that, and it doesn't. My biggest concern, I don't want to see property taxes increase, but he lets them spend down some of their surplus, but not raise property taxes. I can go along with that. I support that. We need a more long-term solution. I think the legislature is going to be looking at some other things that can be done, but the school aid formula is a huge, expensive item, and so it'll probably have to be done over a period of years.
Would you like to see some major reform there?
Well, remember, this has been around since about 1971, and it's not been reformed to date. But there's also other concerns in rural districts that they have to pay a disproportionate share of the cost of their schools for transportation.
Absolutely.
So those are a couple of issues that I hope the legislature can begin to address, hopefully before they adjourn this year.
A lot of issues in regards to public employee unions in Iowa and workmen's compensation rules and that. Do you see that as a trend that we're seeing in the entire upper Midwest, starting with Wisconsin, that we're going to be seeing a change in how government deals with its employee unions? And is it actually union busting?
Well, no. The unions are the most powerful special interest group and spend the most money on politics, mainly supporting Democrats. And in Illinois, they have a lock grip control of state government, but look at the mess that's been. You look at Wisconsin, 6 years ago they reformed their collective bargaining system, and they've controlled the cost of health care and other things, and now Governor Walker is proposing a reform dividend, more money for education because of the improvements they've made over the last 6 years. I hope we can do the same thing in Iowa by controlling health care costs, which the unions have refused to pay either nothing or just a pittance. By paying a reasonable share for that and working together to control health care costs, we'll have more money for wages, we'll have more money for other things to help education and other programs.
But what do you see as the role of public employee unions in Iowa?
Well, they're going to be able to bargain for wages, but we don't think they should be dominant and be able to get their way on everything. We think the taxpayers' interest should be represented as well. It's not really fair that a union member has $23,000 a year of their health care paid by the taxpayers, and they only pay $20 a month. Most other people who work in the private sector are paying a big chunk. I'm paying 20% of my health care costs, and the non-union people in the state government are doing that. But why should they be a privileged class? And we're still going to be providing health care, but it's just not going to be bargained. Consequently, we're going to be able to put together a big health care plan for the entire state government and offer it to the community colleges and the state universities and for the county, cities, and school districts if they want to participate. And by spreading the risk, we think we can save tens of millions of dollars. That savings can go for wages and other items.
Talk a little bit about politics right now. Donald Trump winning Iowa, much to your happiness. Iowa also turning very much more red than it's been in the past, of the governor's office, both houses of the legislature, both of the U.S. senators. Is that something that, obviously it's hard-earned by Republicans, easily lost, I guess, if anybody fumbles the football?
Well, first of all, I've been on the ballot a lot of times. I've been elected governor 6 times, and I found that Iowans respect hard work. And they respect integrity and honesty, and they want somebody that's going to really work for them. And I think that's the reason why Republicans did well, because we've had good candidates, sincere people that work hard, that I think really represent the views of Iowans. The Democrats have been so controlled by the public employee unions that whatever the unions wanted, they got. And most people felt this isn't really fair, it's not right. And that's the reason why collective bargaining and some of these other reforms, workers' comp. We've got a system that used to be very fair, but now it's gotten very skewed. So we need to bring it back into balance. And so that's what I think Iowans voted for. They voted for change. They voted for somebody that would make America great again for president. I mean, Donald Trump carried 93 of 99 counties. 34 counties that had gone for Obama went for Trump. A lot of blue-collar union people voted. But the Democrats, they opposed the fertilizer plant. They oppose the pipelines. These are good jobs. And many of these are union jobs. And so I think a lot of people that had historically been Democrats said, wait a minute, they don't represent us anymore. They just represent the elite on the East Coast and the West Coast, the Hollywood, the billionaires like Tom Steyer and people like that. And we need somebody that understands and represents the working people of this country. And I've worked with them on things like apprenticeships to help increase job opportunities for people in building and construction trades, manufacturing, IT, and things like that.
You are now getting ready for confirmation hearings for ambassadorship to China. You've got such great connections with Chinese leadership, thanks to your time as governor. Things that have happened in Muscatine as well. But let's be honest, is that what you've done is very much goodwill, education, and trade. As ambassador, you're going to be facing some real challenges. Depending upon what President Trump says or tweets at any given moment, it could be very confrontational. Are you ready for that portion of dealing with the Chinese, the more confrontational approach?
Well, first of all, I'm very proud of the fact that we treated Xi Jinping, who's now the leader of China, very well. When he came here as a young man representing an ag delegation, when he was just a county-level party leader, and I was governor. But we had our picture taken together. We signed Luca Baroni to take him all over the state. Luca taught him how to drive. He'd never driven a car before. He stayed with the Dvorak family in Muscatine. Sarah Landy was in charge of the sister states. They visited farms and factories all over Iowa. And when I came back as governor in 2011 and went to China, normally I'd get to meet with the party leader from Hebei province or with the governor of Hebei province. I get to meet with the vice president of China in the Great Hall of the People. He spends 45 minutes telling me how much he loves Iowa and how well we treated him. In fact, he says when he thinks of America, he thinks of the nice people he met in Iowa back in 1985. So I hope that that relationship, when he calls me an old friend, and he calls Iowans, the ones that he met then and the ones that are here, his old friends. So I hope that that relationship, which is really important in the Chinese culture, will help me to build an understanding between our two countries. They already buy a lot of soybeans, a lot of pork from Iowa, want to get the market open for beef, some of the traits of our corn and things like that. Principal Financial Group wants to sell their retirement products in China. There's a lot that can benefit both of our countries if we can continue to build on the good things. And when I was in China in November after the election, and there were a lot of uncertainty and questions being raised, and I said, remember, Donald Trump's a businessman, and he wrote a book called The Art of the Deal. And I learned a long time ago the best deal is a win-win situation. Yeah, we want it to be a win for America and something that's going to build our economy and create good jobs here, but it also needs to be a win for our trading partners like China as well, and I'm hopeful that I can play a role in seeing that happen.
But are you worried that there could be confrontational relationships between China and the U.S.?
And well, there's a lot of challenges out there. North Korea, what's going on in the South China Sea, all of those things. I'm not an expert in that. I want to learn as much as I can about it. I don't think I can comment about those issues now before I go through confirmation, but I do recognize that I'm going to be taking on a big challenge, and there's a lot of friction, and there's a lot of issues between our two countries. But in the end of the day, we're the two biggest economies in the world. China has got the biggest population in the world. They have an economy that's growing faster than ours. We want our economy to grow faster, but we also want them to be successful. And if we can do it, and we'll do it right, it'll benefit not only the United States of America and the People's Republic of China, it'll benefit the entire world. And for a farm kid from Iowa to have an opportunity to play a role like this, I want to do the best I can, and I hope I can make a real difference.
And that's what I was wondering, and I was going to end with that, is as a farm kid from Iowa, I mean, you know everything from the Missouri River to the Mississippi River, and now you're going to go to a very foreign landscape in more than one way. Anything you're going to miss from Iowa, and anything you're really looking forward to for experiences in China?
Well, first of all, I've been to every county in Iowa every year I've been governor. I love the state, I love the people of Iowa, and I feel like the people of Iowa have treated me well. I've tried to do everything I can to try to make a difference for the state. I want to continue to serve in that capacity as ambassador to help Iowa, to grow Iowa jobs, to increase our exports, but I'll have the responsibility to represent the entire United States of America. And obviously, I want to learn more about China. I've already made friends there and know a lot of key people there, but I haven't seen the terracotta soldiers. I've not been to the Yangtze River. There are 32 provinces of China. We have 5 consulates as well as embassy. I hope to obviously go to all of those places, and it's going to be an exciting new adventure. It won't be easy, but I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Are you stocking up on Maid-Rites before you head out or anything like that?
Well, I love Maid-Rites. That's in Iowa. You know, Maid-Rites, I love to go. I've had a goal of getting to every Subway, because I love the 6-inch Subway turkey sandwich.
Wow.
Made from Iowa turkey and processed in our state. So, yeah, there's a lot of things I'll miss. Hopefully we'll take a bunch of things with us over there. But also, I've learned to eat with chopsticks, and I want to learn about their culture, and I certainly want to be a good ambassador for the people of America in the People's Republic of China.
That's Governor Terry Branstad. If and when he does become ambassador to China, Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds will take over as Iowa's chief executive, making her the state's first female governor. In a moment, the city's cleaning up its act. But first, moving into the St. Patrick's Day weekend and beyond, Laura Adams has great ideas for you, your family, and your friends when you go out and about.
This is Out and About for March 13th through 19th. Hi, I'm Laura Adams. Two Rivers Church is offering a free concert every Wednesday at lunch during Lent, while the Heart of Hope Outreach Ministry is holding its 4th annual Trivia Night fundraiser at the Holiday Inn in Rock Island. The Port City Coin Club's 79th annual coin show at the Rendezvous in Muscatine allows collectors to buy, sell, or trade. Admission is free. It's time for the 35th annual KSI St. Patrick's Day race, March 18th, where there's a race for everyone. The St. Patrick's Society Quad Cities USA marks 31 years of the Grand Parade, the nation's only bi-state parade beginning in Rock Island at 11:30. Opera Augustana presents How the Trumpet Got Its Toot at the Bruner Theater Center March 17th through 19th. Plus, the Augustana Flute Choir and Heartstrings, a Celtic quartet, perform March 17th. The River Music Experience is holding a St. Patrick's Day concert and fundraiser for the Celtic Cultures Alliance on the 17th. And Circa 21 opens The Music Man. While Lawrence Hobgood, described by All About Jazz magazine as one of the finest pianists out there, performs at the Butterworth Center on the 17th at 3. The Black Box Theater in downtown Moline presents the family-friendly musical You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, featuring songs like Happiness. And Playcrafters Barn Theater presents the Neil Simon comedy Rumors at the Moline Theater through the 19th. For more information, visit wqpt.org.
Thank you, Laura. Every household has some type of spring cleaning. Cities have learned that lesson and are trying to bring that same effort to neighborhoods throughout the region. The extreme cleanup crews will be targeting what's called a corridor cleanup in the cities. And joining us is Kurt Liske of the Waste Commission of Scott County and organizer once again of the corridor cleanup, which is coming up, and you want volunteers.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. This is the success of these events truly does hinge on volunteers, and we've changed extreme cleanup a little bit over the last year or two, and we've got a little bit of a new format, and just trying to get the word out that we're still doing extreme cleanup, but we need volunteers all year long, basically.
Well, what is the corridor cleanup? Because that's kind of your first phase of it, is it not, for this year?
Yeah, we've had one cleanup already, but the corridor
Right.
cleanup is probably the first real big cleanup. What it is we've partnered with the City of Davenport, and the City of Davenport says, hey, our main corridors, Kimberly, Locust, Welcome Way, Brady, etc., all winter long, we get litter that collects and that sort of thing. It snows on the ground, it's hard to get out and get after it. We're getting into the warmer months, hopefully, and this is a perfect time to go try and collect and clean up all of that stuff that has accumulated over the winter months. So what they're doing is on the 25th of March, they've got basically a handful of different sites along those major corridors and trying to just encourage people to get out and help kind of clean up, beautify, and obviously just do good by the environment.
This is something that like you said, you feel good about it and you want to make it and maybe even pass it on to your children, but this is not necessarily an event that you want young kids to take part in. Is that true?
Yeah, so we try to encourage as many people to bring families out, but this one, just given the nature of it, you're working along busy, pretty major thoroughfares. That's not something you want young kids, running
Right.
around. And so, yeah, we're encouraging older children, adults, of course. But I mean, if you've got small kids, we would encourage you or push you towards some of our other cleanups that we've got scheduled later in the year.
Maybe not this one. And once again, when you want to find out more about it and register, it's Extreme Cleanup, Extreme Cleanup. Very clever.
Stream is in the waterway. Yes.
What is often found? When we're doing these cleanups, because I know every time that we take a look at the river, we're finding, people are leaving refrigerators and car tires. What are you seeing along the roadways, though? Is it mostly like fast food wrappers and that's it?
Yeah, it's your general litter, water bottles, pop bottles, cans, things like that, fast food wrappers, things of that nature. We do get, believe it or not, bags of yard waste, or things of that nature. It's hard to characterize everything because there is a wide variety, but your big items are just kind of your general, small trash items, and that is, it's not only an eyesore, but it does have an impact on, water quality and, local wildlife, that sort of thing. So.
And like you said, this is just the first phase. There's many different things that are going on. You've got the Big Island invasive species removal going on actually the same day.
Yeah, so.
That's kind of interesting because, that's been a new aspect to this cleanup that you hadn't done before. You're really doing it now, the invasive species choking out so many other plants that are native to this area.
Yeah, it's for a couple of years we've done it. It hasn't been as much of a focus, but with the new format for Extreme Cleanup, to where we've got cleanups and events scheduled throughout, spring, summer, fall, hey, if we can get after some of these invasive species in the spring before they, start to pollinate and all of these things and germinate, then hey, that makes the most sense. So if we've got if we've got a volunteer workforce that wants to get out and get after it, let's do that and do good by, the environment in that aspect, in addition to, litter cleanup and debris cleanup, things of that nature.
And this is on both sides of the river.
Correct. Yeah, we've got the cleanup along Hennepin Canal, Big Island.
That's the one I always think of. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, we've got partners, Rock Island, Moline, throughout Rock Island County, of course, Scott County and all the various communities there in Scott County. And we are up to 19, I think I was just counting this morning, events, again, scattered throughout the year. So, the old format was, hey, it's it's a Saturday in August.
That's what it used to be, the big cleanup.
Yep, and we recognized that there was more that we wanted to do, and in order to accomplish that, we had to address things at different times of the year. So the corridor cleanup is a perfect example. Getting out and cleaning up all that debris and litter that is collected over the winter months, it doesn't make much sense to do that in August, and let it wait around till then.
Right.
Doing your invasive species, trying to get them before they, multiply and what have you, that's stuff that should be done in the spring. There are other things that absolutely deserve attention that can be accomplished later in the year.
Have you noticed a difference? Is there almost an immediate difference, especially with the corridor cleanup? That type. I know the waterways is a big deal. We'll talk about that in a second.
Sure.
For the corridors, do you notice something right away?
Yeah, this is something that the cities, we see we see a noticeable difference almost immediately. You're beautifying, these areas. We're getting the spring months, things are getting nice and green. The challenge is that litter comes from someplace, and it's all those drivers. So this is it's a perennial problem. So we don't foresee, this corridor cleanup going away anytime soon. But at the same time, if we weren't out there and if we weren't, fortunate enough to have such, great volunteers. Just imagine how horrible that would look after 1 or 2 years of this stuff just collecting, and let alone then it becomes a cost to cities to send crews out to clean it up, etc.
But when you think of some of the river cleanups, I mean, you're hoping that you're not digging out the same huge appliances or refuse year after year, that perhaps that there's more people know that's going on, they know what's right or wrong. That's what I wonder as well. I mean, do you at all notice any difference that people's habits change, those that are polluting?
Yeah. As far as those that are polluting, it's hard to find those people that are doing it.
Right.
But the impact of what they're doing, and even more importantly, the impact of all the people that have been out helping us clean up, I mean, we are seeing an impact. We've been doing extreme cleanup since 2004. There are sites, every year we put a call out, who has a site that needs cleaned up. And I mean, we have sites that had been, year after year after year, come back and say, you know what? Well, things look pretty good. We're in good shape. So, we were talking earlier, we're trying to put ourselves out of business, and we're starting to see the fruits of all those years of labor, and it's really encouraging and exciting to see.
Because when we're talking about picking up trash, it's really a short-term thing. When you're talking about some of the stuff that's ending up in the river, that can have long-term effects for groundwater contamination and all the rest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have the big things, your appliances, we got a report not too long ago of an automobile that somebody had found down along the west end of Davenport, along the river there. There's all those automotive fluids. Those things are, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that, hey, that is probably not healthy. But there are other issues that a lot of people don't realize. When you dump, a bag of leaves or grass clippings, that has a real impact as that breaks down, especially if it's in a waterway. That impacts, dissolved oxygen in the water, which has an impact on, plant life and aquatic life. I mean, that is, people think, oh, it's natural, it just breaks down and it's just the circle of life. But at the same time, there's a reason why, it's not allowed, and there's a reason why that's called illegal dumping, and there's a reason why we do everything we can to encourage people not to do that.
Corridor Cleanup coming up Saturday, March 25th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., part of Extreme Cleanup. Go to Extreme,
with an S.
.com?
Yes.
.org?
.org.
One of the many dots, and you can register and get more information.
Google is always a good reference.
That's the way I do it. Thank you very much. Kurt Liskey of the Waste Commission of Scott County. Thanks so much for joining us. WQPT is doing its part to support the military men and women in the cities who are serving our nation. We call it Embracing the Military. Army Community Services is launching a new coffee break program for spouses of all military members, retirees, and civilian employees at the Rock Island Arsenal. It'll be held on the first and third Mondays of each month in Building 110 on the island. The next one, Monday, March 20th, starts at 9:30 in the morning. And remember, we need you now more than ever at WQPT. Throughout this week, you're also seeing some of the special programs you'll see nowhere else but your local public television station. By donating to WQPT, you make events like Imagination Station and programs like The City's Possible. So please consider a donation that allows us to continue both our broadcasts and our outreach programs that touch thousands of families each year. Head to WQPT.org, that is, for more details. And as always, on the air, on the radio, on the web, on your mobile device as well, thanks for taking some time to join us when we talk about the issues on the cities.
Public Affairs programming on WQPT is brought to you by the Singh Group at Merrill Lynch, serving the wealth management needs of clients in the region for over 25 years.